Greetings, everyone. It is Linda Talaferro from the T, the Extra Effort, career advisor who helps professionals get unstuck so they can get their seat at the table. So, this is session 2. This is the second week on a topic that I entitled 8 Reasons Why You May Be Stuck and You Can't Get to Your Next Level. So, last week we talked about the lack of self-confidence as being one of the reasons. And I want to revisit that briefly because I want to make sure that we understand how critically fundamental that is to all the other 7 that I'm going to be talking about over the next several weeks. It's so important that we do some reflective work. Now, I gave you examples of lack of self-confidence last week. Not looking people in the eye when you're speaking, showing up small, speaking softly and not really forthright, and showing conviction in what you have to say. And I know I can give you descriptions. I get it because I was there years ago. I can give you descriptions of what poor self-confidence looks like or lacking self-confidence looks like. But the work is in building that self-confidence. And it starts with believing that we have the worth, recognizing our self-worth. That's what all of this starts in. We have to know that we know when we look in the mirror that we are worthy of whatever that seat is that we are aspiring to sit in. So I wanted to briefly revisit the lack of self-confidence so that you understand. If you missed it last Tuesday, please go check that out. And I want you to really understand how important it is. It is really the common thread to everything I'm going to be talking about going forward, including tonight. I'm in the Midwest, so you guys know Transformational Tuesdays happens at 9 p.m. on the Midwest. So tonight, during this session, what I'm going to be talking about, you got to have self-confidence, and you've got to look in that mirror and know your worth in order to be able to maneuver within the second one I'm going to be talking about tonight. It's so important. And I know this is not easy. And so this is when I talk about peeling back those layers to get to that. But to get to the second one that I want to talk about tonight, the second reason why you may be stuck, and that's you're lacking political savvy. Now, I know just the word political alone turns not all of you, a majority of you off. As soon as I said that word, a majority of you are like, oh, here she goes. I want nothing to do with workplace politics. I want nothing to do with the political environment. But I have to tell you, yes, you do. There's no way, frankly, around it. As you go through your career and your journey, irrespective of what seat you have, politics is around you. Why? Because we're people, and we're people that come to whatever table it is, whether it's a team of individuals working on an initiative, whether it's in the boardroom and you have a position like mine, or you're a president of a business unit or the COO. Politics is going to play a role. It does not matter where your seat is today and where you aspire to be. And it changes in how it shows up as you go up the corporate ladder. So it's so important for you to understand it now. And it does not have to be negative. Can it be? Absolutely. Is it? In some cases, yes. But it does not have to be. And you can leverage the positive side of it. It's very important to have political savvy. What do I mean by that? One of the things that shows that you have political savvy is that you know how to socialize a subject before the meeting even happens, meaning that I can identify key people that probably will attend a meeting 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, on a subject that is important to you, on an initiative that you're leading, and you go and meet with those individuals and talk about it in advance. Share your thoughts and ideas and get their voice in advance. I can't tell you how strongly that shows your understanding of workplace politics, which is how to get things done, and will help you be successful with the outcome of that meeting or successful in getting your initiative launched. That shows you have political savvy. And if you are not having those types of conversations before the meetings take place, then you're lacking a part of what is critical to be successful. Now, you might think, well, I didn't even know that had anything to do with politics. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying to you. A lot of times we misunderstand workplace politics and think it has nothing to do with positive forward progression, but it has everything to do with it. Everything to do with it. It is fundamentally how things get done. And that's one of the ways of doing it. Socializing your information, your initiatives, your ideas first. Another is, this is not going to be new if you've followed me for any length of time, and that is building relationships. It is important, critically important, for you to know the landscape and to be very comfortable with the workplace landscape. Absolutely comfortable. How do you do that? How do you completely understand the landscape? How do you become very comfortable with the landscape? It's through your network, through the relationships, through the people that you've gotten to know. They'll explain it to you. They'll help you navigate it. So relationships are critical. As I said earlier, people are people. I mean, there are reasons, motives, modus operandi. There's how people show up and get things done. You understand it, you learn that through the relationships that you build with the individuals. Why do they think the way they think? Why do they approach situations the way they approach them? Again, doesn't this sound familiar as to what I said in the opening? Workplace politics, how you get things done. So the fact that you may be lacking political savviness is because you haven't taken the time to build your relationships, to understand the landscape, so you know how things get done. It's extremely, extremely critical to your success along your journey to your seat at the table. One of the other ways I want to make sure I get all of my thoughts in here is being forthright, open, and honest with your feedback and ideas, with your thoughts. Share them. It's extremely important for other people. I mean, that is part of the relationship building. That is part of being politically savvy, is that people know where you're coming from as well. It's extremely important for people to understand what your thought process is, how and why you approach things the way you do. So don't be on the side of just gathering information, one-way communication, and never sharing the other direction. Doing so, in exactly the way I described it, shows your political savviness, shows that you understand the power, actually, the positive power of being able to maneuver within workplace politics. And I want to offer something to those people in general, but in particular, people of color, women of color, because we're going to run into, all of us are going to run into people who will play that negative political card. People, I said earlier, people are people. Unfortunately, in every situation, those sharks, those political sharks exist. And the key is to be able to survive in the water with those political sharks. And you can do so without swinging to their side of the pendulum, without showing up as they are. There's no need for you to take the negative stance. People of color, women in general, we deal with these pieces of the workplace on a regular basis. How do you approach that? You approach it head on. You stay rooted, solid, grounded, just strong in your position and stance, and not with the negative tilt of an attitude or everything else. And you present your case and you continue to speak with data and facts as you maneuver through whatever situation or issue or initiative or problem that you're working on. So, although you may be exposed to the negative side of politics, it doesn't have to play out negatively for you. You can leverage the positive side of it. And I will tell you from experience that when you do that in the way that I just described, those sharks who may not have been shown before are shown. People see them. They identify them. They know who they are. They stand out like a sore thumb. And some of them, even with titles on business cards that have quote unquote power around them, tend to shift when the rest of the environment does not support that kind of behavior, when they're called out on that kind of behavior. Because you have shown up, obviously hitting the home runs because you are good at your work product. And then you have shown up politically savvy, socializing your ideas, having those conversations, having those supporters, being able to move through and connect and collaborate. That's political savviness, because then you start to get things done, which is what workplace politics is about. You understand how to get things done. You get things done. And those sharks have to swim in another direction. And you never become one. That is critical. In order to be successful, you do not have to be a political shark. You don't have to play the negative card. Testament right here. Been in the workplace since 1984, and I have yet to go negative. There's no one in my wake of my 30 plus years. No one's in my wake. I don't have any bodies back there. This is not necessary in order to be successful. But it is rooted in, and I can't say this more than, I can't say it, you're going to hear it throughout these 8 reasons. It's rooted in knowing that you know that you belong, knowing that you deserve the seat, no matter what anybody's told you. And if you're like me, you have to do what I use in my method when I work with clients: peel back, connect, and grow. Peel back those layers, understand where the root of the low self-confidence comes from, so you can connect the dots of where all that's coming from. Kill the negative self-talk, kill all the areas that was rooted in that low self-confidence, so you can rise above with high self-confidence, knowing your worth, so that the workplace politics is just yet another thing that you do extremely well, and that you even help people along the way, because they see how awesomely fantastic you are at executing, irrespective of who's coming your way. So let's just recap. Last week, gave you the first one. 8 reasons why you may be stuck, can't get to the next level, lacking self-confidence. Today, I shared with you the second one, and I'm going to start typing these out so you can see them in the descriptions of the future Transformational Tuesdays. But the second one is you're lacking political savvy. And like I said in the beginning, the first one I gave you is the foundation for the rest of these. And they're all connected. All connected. And most importantly, flipping them is doable. You can become self-confident. You can become politically savvy. Absolutely can. Starts with knowing it and believing it when you look in the mirror. And if I said earlier, if you're a person of color, a woman of color, now is not the time to shrink back. There's never been a time for women in corporate America to shrink back. There's never been a time for people of color to shrink back, ever. So if that's been you, now's the time to flip that script and stand in your self-worth. There's a link. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If you are needing to do the peel back, connect, and grow, if you aren't sure, hey, I hear you, Linda, and I need to pinpoint the root of my low self-confidence. I need to completely understand how to go about being politically savvy. And then I want to jump in to these other 8 ahead of the game, along with other areas. Click that link, schedule a call with me, and let's get about making sure that you are ready for that next level.